Toto and I are so grateful to be here on this day, and I think it's no coincidence that we're starting our study of Esther on Purim. And you're probably saying, Julie, what are you even talking about? Well, as it turns out, today is actually the festival of Purim. And Esther is the one who inaugurated it. And she is the only female who has ever inaugurated a Jewish holiday that continues to this day, literally this day. So here we are starting Esther on Purim. How great is that? So we're going to start digging in. And one of the things that I think a lot of us may have learned if we've done any kind of Bible study in the past, that it's really important to understand the context. Because the Bible, out of any book probably ever created, has been misused, taken out of context. So it's really important that we understand the book of Esther and where it falls in time, who the characters are, what their background is. So we're going to talk just briefly today about that, just to kind of launch our study. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up right in the beginning of most books of the Bible, and Esther is one that actually gives you a little bit of that background. So let's look at Esther chapter 1. It says, "This is what happened during the time of Xerxes. The Xerxes who ruled over 127 provinces stretching from India to Cush. At that time, King Xerxes reigned from his royal throne in the citadel of Susa," that's the capital, "and in the 3rd year of his reign, he gave a banquet for all the nobles and officials. The military leaders of Persia and Media, the princes and the nobles of the provinces were present." So, what did we just learn? We just learned that as far as where on a map, this is an area from India to Cush, and I will include a map so you can see. It actually, if you have a study guide, you can look on page, I think it's page 10. Let's see. Page 10, it actually shows. So as far as on the map, this area of Persia includes present-day Turkey, Iran, Iraq, Pakistan, parts of India and Afghanistan, even parts of Egypt. So it's a huge territory. The kingdom of Persia is a huge area. So that kind of tells us where. Then we learned about a king named Xerxes. So this is where it's important to know which Bible you're using, because the Bible in front of you, if it's an NRSV or an NASB version, may say King Ahasuerus. So they're actually the same person. So it's just a little bit different translation. And I'm not going to go into all the details of different Bible translations. I actually have another video that I'll put out about that. But I will say it's important to know what type of Bible you have in front of you, because there is a spectrum from word for word to more of more readable. So really just understand what kind of Bible you're reading. So the NASB would be a very word for word. The Message would be more of a translation, more of a paraphrase. So, and the NIV is kind of in the middle, and that's what most people, and this is more of an evangelical translation, so most of you are probably using the NIV. Our book, in our study guide, I use actually the NRSV, the New Revised Standard Version, which is more of an academic version. But the bottom line is the meaning is similar. It's a little easier, some of the more readable ones. So, but just know what you're reading. People always say, well, Julie, what's the best Bible? The one you will read. So anyway, more on Bible translations, another video if you want to listen to that. So we know where we are. We're in Persia. King Xerxes, or Ahasuerus, is the king at the time. And now we're going to find out when this occurred. So we're going to go to Esther chapter 2, verse 5. Now there was in the citadel of Susa a Jew of the tribe of Benjamin, named Mordecai, son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, who had been carried into exile, this is important, from Jerusalem by Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. Among those taken captive with Jehoiachin, king of Judah, Mordecai had a cousin named Hadassah, whom he had brought up here because she had neither father nor mother. This girl, who was also known as Esther, Hadassah is Esther, was lovely in form and features, and Mordecai had taken her as his own daughter when her father and mother died. So, what did the text just tell us? Two major characters. In fact, I say sometimes that this could be the book of Mordecai, because Mordecai, Esther's cousin, is so important in the story, and we'll see as it unfolds. But they're Jews. They are not Babylonians. They're not Persians. They are part of the group of people who were in Jerusalem, who in 586 BC, when the temple was destroyed, were taken captive into Babylon, into Persia, by King Nebuchadnezzar. And so where we are now is Esther actually takes place a little later. So what happened is, in captivity, the Jewish people were taken there, and then under King Cyrus, they were freed and allowed to go back to Jerusalem to rebuild the temple, which is the book of Ezra, and then the wall, which is the book of Nehemiah. So, but what happened in Esther is some of the Jews decided to remain. And so Mordecai and Esther were two of those people, the Jewish population, who chose to remain in Persia after they were allowed to go back, because King Xerxes is the grandson of King Cyrus. So that kind of gives you, I hope that wasn't too much information, but that kind of tells you where in time. Because as many of us know, if you study the Bible at all, the Bible is not in chronological order. So we always like to know not only what we're reading, what Bible version, and is this close to the text, but where we are in time, who the characters are, what is going on. So the setting is that the character of Esther, it's really, really important to know that she is a foreigner. She's not a captive anymore, but she's a foreigner. So she is a Jewish young girl who, we know the end of the story, right? She becomes queen of Persia. How unlikely is that? So pretty awesome. So that's kind of the beginning, kind of launching us out there. But one thing I always love to say about the book of Esther that I think is so fascinating is God is never mentioned in this book. And I feel like it's kind of like our culture. We don't talk about God a lot, but God is all over it. So one of my hopes and my goals of this study is that you are able to see God more in your everyday life. Just like we're going to see God working in the story, even though the word God is never mentioned. God is all over the book of Esther, just like God is all over our lives. So we're going, we're starting, we're launching. So Purim Samayach, happy Purim. We're getting started. Perfect timing. Thank you all for tuning in. So stay tuned, and we'll be back next week. Bye-bye.